The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co. Dean Graziosi. Dean is the creator and founder of Motor Millions and Think a Little Different, both of which are successful business opportunity infomercials that teach people how to make money with cars and real estate. He has been on TV every day since 1999, and he has helped to ship over 1 million manuals, tapes, and videos. Dean Graziosi knows how to create success. From extremely humble beginnings, Dean started with a firewood business in high school to a collision repair shop and his first real estate deal before the age of 20. From there, he went to create a multi-million-dollar real estate business, became a multiple New York Times best-selling author, and 16 years every day on TV, he is one of the most watched real estate and success trainers of our generation. Dean maximized the success and profits in each of his endeavors. And along with the evolution of his business and his brave hand, he's generated nearly $1 billion in revenue. Dean is obsessed with sharing the success he's learned along his journey with the world. Well, my work with him, I met Dean through a friend, and we've got many friends, mutual friends. And he's always come across as what he is. He's just a very, very nice guy, very passionate about what he does, and really about, sharing his message. So I was honored in having the opportunity to interview him. He was going to be speaking at the Expo. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it work at the end, but I'm looking forward to working with Dean in the future. And as I said, you're going to love this interview because his passion comes across in anything and everything that he says and he does. So enjoy it. Thank you so much. Hi, welcome. I'm Bernardo Moya. I'm here in Scottsdale in Phoenix, and I'm in Dean Graziosi's studio, and I've got the great pleasure of interviewing him today. Hi, Dean. How are you?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here. Oh, good Dean, to have you here.
No, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Dean, you've done so many great things: entrepreneur, real estate investor, coach, speaker. I mean, tell me about your early years. Where were you born, and what were the early years like? Upstate
New York, a little town called Marlboro, New York, about 6,000 people. Blue-collar town, blue-collar thinking, blue-collar family. I think I just had that burning desire for more. I had dyslexia when I was a kid, so school was really tough. My parents been married 9 times. I moved 20 times by the time I was 17 years old. And I think I just always felt out of control. This is in retrospect. I didn't think this when I was a 16-year-old, right? But looking back on what gave me that motivation, it was just running away from a painful place. I lived in a bathroom with my dad for a whole year once. We didn't have any money. I'd go to school without, I tell my friends I wasn't hungry when we didn't have lunch money, right? So whoever's watching or listening to this or getting pieces of this, it doesn't matter where we all have different paths. But the more I've evolved, the more I've matured, the more I've been blessed to have successful businesses, fail, succeed, go to another level. You realize there is just some fundamental, foundational pieces that all super successful people use, whether you're an athlete, a coach, an author, a writer, or run a Fortune 500 company. But looking back, I'll try to just do this quick so we can get to serve here and give away some nuggets. I was that kid who knew he wasn't going to college, didn't have the money for college, didn't have the smarts for college. But I realized at a young age, I was lucky enough to see that people that had money, people that had happiness, people that had more joy, just had different habits. They did things a little bit differently than the way my family did it. I love my family dearly, but they looked at life through a different set of glasses. And I don't know if it was God, the universe, luck, but I got to recognize that sooner than most. And I didn't have a mentor. I wasn't lucky enough or smart enough to listen to interviews or watch interviews like this or read books. I was more of the kid who I went after it. I failed fast. I failed miserably, but I was inspired. Another thing, too, being young, you're young and dumb. They say that for a reason. I didn't know that I couldn't make it. The world hadn't told me, hey, you don't have money, you don't have a college degree, you're not going to make it. And when I flipped that story of hey, I might not have the smarts or the college degree, but I have the stamina, I have the willpower, I got some success. I started real estate. I started with no money down.
Let me take you back, because I know you started. What was the first job? Was that
fixing cars?
Fixing cars. That was
wrecked
it.
cars.
And then you started flipping them.
Yeah. So I started fix wrecked cars. Then I'd buy wrecked cars when I got the money, and I'd fix it up and I'd flip it.
Yeah.
And thank you. I'm kind of going through this quick, so feel free to stop me at any moment. So then when I was flipping cars, then I realized, hey, let me try this with real estate. And I knocked on enough doors and begged and pleaded until I finally got a couple people to sell me real estate based on my enthusiasm, based on my authenticity, based on that I was just going to go for it. So I got into a couple no money down deals. My car dealership, I started to grow. I had a collision shop, blue collar collision shop started to grow. Then I got about 20 apartments that I was, hustling, and finally got a bank to lend me money after I got a little bit. And then I started getting raw land and subdividing it and building houses. And then in the late 90s, I decided, hey, I'm watching Tony Robbins on TV with infomercials, how he inspired me so much. I wanted to share with the world how this broke kid from nowhere made it just by pure grit and overcoming obstacles and not listening to the outside world and all those things. And I decided to write courses and write books, and blessed that I've gone on to have multiple New York Times best-selling books and sold millions of copies and touched lives of people all over the world. And I got to meet my heroes like Tony Robbins, who now is a dear friend. He was just this guy that changed my life through a tape one day. And now he's a dear friend and a bunch of other cool people. So it's been an incredible journey. Lots of failures, lots of success, learned a lot along the journey. Got my ass kicked a few times, and that's how you learn. And as you go, you start to build not only the grit, you build these habits, and you realize what your past is, that it's there for research and development, and your past can be your wind. It doesn't have to be your anchor, and all these things that add up to success.
Well, in this short time we've been speaking, you've been talking about those failures and that feedback it gave you. Entrepreneurship can be a lonely business sometimes.
Absolutely. Most of the time.
But people tend to think that, entrepreneurship is all, flying colors, everything looks great. You've got to work hard and have those lonely moments.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those lonely moments because we're programmed to think a little bit differently, right? We're programmed to go to school, and I'm not knocking college and school at all, but even if you're in it or went through it, we're programmed to follow this path. And when we step off as entrepreneurs, when we take those risks, we take those gambles, it's scary for most of the world. And when you tell people your aspirations or your dreams, or you say no to things other people say yes to, and you say yes to things that people think you're crazy, you end up being alone in your thoughts, alone in your desires. And as lonely as that sounds, or feels in some cases, what is the alternative? To go along with the crowd, to do what everybody else does, to have what everybody else has. How many friends do we have that seem to have the job, the life, the wife, the husband, or the kids, and inside they're totally empty or sad or depressed, right? So I think this journey of the entrepreneur is changing because of things like what you're doing with this interview, with the internet, with the ability to find groups of people, go to events. I mean, look at Tony's events and everybody's events. They're growing right now because people are saying, no, I'm not following the crowd. I'm not following the masses. This is my heart. This is where I'm going. I'm going to gain the capabilities and I'm going to do it. And you're a big part of helping make that happen. So to do an interview like this is a privilege and an honor to me because the people watching or listening are kindred spirits. We're the trailblazers. Yeah. We're the ones that went out and, the caveman time, we went out and clubbed the animals over the head, Sometimes we didn't come back, but, at least we're out there going for it.
We tried.
Yeah.
So now speaking and doing all these seminars you do, and you're obviously a very successful businessman as well, but I mean, from what I'm getting, you love what you do as far as training. Tell me about what you educate and what you teach people.
Yeah, so right now I'm always excited about something. My new book is Millionaire Success Habits, and it could be life success habits, but millionaire, more people buy the book when I put millionaire in there. I'd love to be more in depth than that. But it's the habits that I've discovered through years of being successful and failing and how to overcome and go to the next level and really being obsessively observant of the successful people that I've been able to meet, become friends with, and see what they do. And here's the thing. Success habits, personal growth, personal development. I'm not inventing anything new. In most cases, we are regurgitating things that have been around forever. And I realize that. So what my obsession has been is how do I take things that already exist, that people have already heard, and frame it in a new way and make it a way that it becomes a recipe that actually sticks in your life. And I think that's what's been my gift. I think that's why I've been able to sell millions of copies of my books, and my company has grown. Not only do I hope to come from an authentic place? This is who I am. I don't have a great vocabulary. I don't articulate very well. I say great and amazing a lot because my words don't go much bigger than that. But I hope what people get when they watch me, and this has been my biggest compliment, is, wow, that guy did it. I think I can too. And then when they read my books or they go to my events, I speak in a way that I hope it's like a good stew. It sticks to your ribs. Like, I've heard that before, but I don't know why this guy said it, and I'm actually going to go do it tomorrow because I know there's great books. I love reading Malcolm Gladwell books, every one of them. I can't wait for the next one. But when I'm done reading it, I tell everybody to get it, but I don't do anything different in my life. It's just a good read. What I hope to do is create events and books and trainings and everything I do. When I'm done, people go, man, that was good, but I'm actually going to do something today. And you know, there's some of the things that I've learned seem so simple to me that it becomes this passion. I'm enthusiastic. My enthusiasm is always up because I want to give it to people. It's like, no, you're just missing this one little piece. Don't think it's not like a New Year's resolution where you have to change everything about your life and start meditating and practicing gratitude every morning and an hour run and all these things. Like, that's great. I hope you evolve to that. But sometimes it's just this little tiny shift you can make, and all of a sudden you got a massive impact. So that's what drives me in today's world.
If you're interested in working with me, contributing to the magazine, maybe speaking at any of our many events around the world, partnering or licensing The Best You, go to www.thebestyou.co.
Would you say that those are your best assets?
Yeah,
the passion
for
that
sure.
you have?
Yeah, for sure. Enthusiasm, and everybody watching, you know, so many times in life when we want to start that new business, become a speaker, become a trainer, do something, we think we have to get everything. We have to be perfect. We have to have the perfect PowerPoint presentation or have the perfect questions to ask in an interview or I need to stand a certain way or use my hands when I talk. Man, I'm just here to tell you, passion outweighs everything. If you truly love what you do and you know it serves somebody to give them what you have, then your ability to sell goes up. Your ability to persuade goes up. Just ramp up enthusiasm based on the fact that you get to change someone's life. I mean, how enthusiastic are we when we go to a great restaurant and we tell someone like, oh God, the lamb was so good, you should try it. Or this movie, it affected my life. Or this book or this training. You're being enthusiastic. You're being authentic. You're being yourself. Take that same thought process into your selling, into your company. Love what you do so much that you have to get it in their hands. And all of a sudden you start doing better than the Harvard grad who's got the perfect PowerPoint and the perfect timing and the perfect pitch and went to debate school. I didn't do any of that stuff. And I admire everybody who goes to school, and education is the lifeline of the world. But don't wait until everything's perfect. Don't wait until all the dots are dotted and the T's are crossed, because a year will go by, then 5, and then 10, and then 20, just like that.
Yeah.
And it's like the train goes down the tracks and you missed it again. If anything today, throw away anything that doesn't serve you, but if anything today, and I want to share one thing before we go that I want to make sure I hammer home, because I think it's one of the quickest hacks or secrets to success. But if anything today, when you're done listening, go do something towards your bigger goal. Take action today. Say no to somebody you should have said no to a long time ago. Say yes to that new venture. Start, get the URL, register the company, send an email, make a call, because that all change starts with just finally saying, I'm just going to do it.
That's great, Dean, and I agree. I think passion is the biggest driver, and if that passion comes out, people will definitely. But taking action is one of the important things, and that's kind of what I feel. I feel there's a lot of people. Talking to Joe, we're talking about kind of like there's a lot of people in the business, in the industry, that just read the book, attend the seminars and stuff like that, but they just don't necessarily take action. They're still in the same place that they were maybe 1, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So, in particular, I know you've obviously have loads of different things you've done. Did you have a turning point or several turning points in your life that's put you on the track of where you are now?
Yeah, I have. A couple things. I think I spent a lot of years running away from a life I didn't want. And that got me there. So if that'll be your driver, use the hell out of it. If you're unhappy or uncomfortable with a life that you currently have, whether money's coming in or not, or just unhappiness, use that as fuel. It's okay to be disturbed. Action can be created by being disturbed. And if that'll get you moving, then stay disturbed, right? But what I realized, and I'd love to share this with everybody, what really was a big turning point for me is really understanding where I wanted to go in life. I think as entrepreneurs, as high achievers, that someone would watch this or listen to this, you've said yes, including you've said yes more than most people. We said yes to the overtime. We said yes to risking starting a new company. We said yes to the venture when our father or mother said, you're going too fast. Stop being a dreamer. We said yes to things most people would never have the nerve to say yes to. So as entrepreneurs, as high achievers, people want to go to the next level. We say, yes, I'll do it. Yes, that event. Yes, that seminar. Yes, that book. Yes to the overtime. Yes, yes, yes. And when I realized, yes, this is from a mentor of mine, yes can get you out of Egypt, but no will take you to the promised land. And what I would say along the journey, the biggest turning point for me is when I realized that I was so used to saying yes. I was saying yes to so many things. It was getting to be overwhelming, confusion, and it was clear. Still happens sometimes. I'm not perfect at it. But when I realized, like Warren Buffett says, he says, I say no to everything. And a couple things a year sneak in because they were perfect for my bigger future. So along that journey, if you say, what was the biggest change in my life, is learning to say no. And in your journey, how do you say no? When people say to me, Dean, I'm overwhelmed, or I need a time management course, or I need to fit more time, or I wish I had 48 hours in a day. They don't need time management. They need clarity. They need a vision. Because most people walk around knowing what they don't want in life. Like we just literally spend so much time knowing what we don't want. And when we do that, we say yes to too many things. I'm going to tell a quick story, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
A good friend of mine, he's involved in his church organization. Him and a bunch of dads take a bunch of 18 to 20-year-old boys whitewater rafting up in Colorado. And I guess rapids go from a 0 to a 5. And they get there and the rapids are a 5. It rained for 2 weeks before. The rapids are crazy. All the dads are nervous, right? They're responsible for all these kids. And the dads are like, I think we should skip it. And the boys are nervous. And then this guide comes out. He's been doing it for 30 years. He goes, dads, don't worry. Boys, you're fine. Get in the rafts. He gets in the raft and the guide says, see this finger, boys? This is the positive point. He goes, wherever I point, when I point, you paddle your guts out to where I'm pointing. And I promise you we'll be fine. He said, I will never point to the rock. I'll never point to the big rapid. I'll never point to the down tree, because if I do, you will look at it, we'll run right into it, and we'll flip over. So, but that's really a metaphor for life. Sure. We're so many times we're pointing, I don't want that income, I don't want that relationship, I don't want. It's like, and I've asked thousands of people this. You could ask somebody, what they don't want out of life, and they will ramble off all the things that aren't working, their wife, their husband, their money, their income. And if you stop them abruptly and go, okay, you don't want that. Tell me right now, really quick, what do you want out of life? I've done this with thousands of people. 9 out of 10 will literally go
blank.
They'll say, that's a good question, or I really don't know. So what are you doing? We're in a Ferrari with no GPS going 100 miles an hour, but we don't know where we're going. Why did I take so much time to share that? Because that's one of the biggest secrets of my life. The biggest changer for me are the most successful people I know. When you ask them where they're going, they know just like that. So with that said, instead of just avoiding what you don't want, when you have clarity, and this is a little hack, do this. If you get nothing else out of this interview, do this one thing for me. Pretend it's a year from now, and it's the best year of your life. Let's just pick your finances. It's the best year of your life. You are doing so well financially and in the career that you love that you walk in a room and people don't know if you got a tan, you got a haircut, you've been working out. Your wife looks at you and goes, damn, he's sexy. Or your husband looks at you and goes, wow, she looks so beautiful. Like you're in that glow, you're in that groove. And your life, what do you look like in the mirror? What do you feel like? How much money's coming in? Like pretend it's a year rather than trying to look ahead. Sometimes we're so damn busy, we have a dust cloud around us, right? Like we're just trying to handle so much, it's hard to set goals. So pretend it's a year, it's the best year of your life, and just start writing stuff down. And then all of a sudden circle the top ones. And that's really your destination. That can give you part of your vision, part of the clarity of where you want to go. So all the stuff I'm telling you, the reason I loop this so big is when you know where you want to go, then all of a sudden it's easier to say no to the things that don't serve your bigger future. Right? If it's not on that list of your perfect life a year from now, then why are you hanging out with your friends talking about negativity? With that group of people that make you feel sad. You're working on that business that hasn't made you money in 10 years and you're not happy with it. Time to shut it down. Time to get rid of that boss that's been making you feel bad about yourself, or that employer or that employee that works for you that makes you feel bad every day. Let it go. Like when you look at that perfect life, if it doesn't fit, It's either a no or get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're interested in watching the video content of this interview and many others, or interested in learning from world leaders and teachers, go to www.thebestyou.online.
So, kind of to nearly summarize, and you might have already answered it. So, someone just coming out of uni or someone that's just lost their job, no money. What's the best advice? What can they do to move forward to create or reinvent themselves?
Okay, so a couple things, and everybody would have a different answer, right?
Yeah.
If I was in that space, first of all, the biggest lie we've ever been told is to work on our weaknesses. And especially when you lose a job or you can't find one, you start thinking about the things you do wrong. Man, if I was better at organization, if I was better at programming, if I was better at reading, screw that. Biggest lie we've ever been told, because when you start focusing on what you suck at, it robs your confidence. You're never going to get the job. You're never going to get the yes. You'll feel bad about yourself. Once you lose your confidence, you're screwed. And I've been there. I know what that feels like to lose your confidence. You feel you're not worthy. And then all of a sudden, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So first things is screw your weaknesses. I still can't read well. I still have dyslexia. I still can't read a book. I listen to a book every 8 days. I burn through a book. I've written multiple New York Times bestsellers. But what I say is find out what you're good at, what sings to your heart. If it's selling, if it's persuasion, if it's organization, if it's bookkeeping, if it's managing, if it's solving other people's problems, just figure out what that one thing you're good at and go get amazing at it. Go deep, pick a swimming lane and keep getting better at that one thing, and eventually you'll pay people to do the stuff you suck at. But if I lost my job, for me, I know how to sell. I sell from my heart. I only sell things that I love and adore and I want to get in people's hands, but I know how to persuade. I would do nothing else, but I would go and help people sell, help people get engaged. But if you said I had to go be a bookkeeper or an accountant, I'd be broke. I'm not good at any of that. If it's about organization, about running big teams, terrible at all that. But I was able to build a big company, generate hundreds of millions of dollars in my life because I went deep on what I'm good at and I ignored my insecurities.
That's great advice. Thank you. You talk about Malcolm Gladwell. I'm a great fan, and obviously the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
You got to put the time in. Whatever it is that you want to become a master at, you got to put the time. A lot of people expect quick results. It's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, I got something really good I want to share on that. The time. Put the time in. Even if you're in something you hate right now, do it to your best ability and just tell yourself you love it. It's only a bridge. It's only a stepping stone. You're not going to be doing what you're doing right now for the rest of your life. But while you do it, if you do it with passion, if you do it with enthusiasm, you train your brain that if you could do the stuff you don't like amazing, imagine when you get to the stuff you do love. I was literally fixing cars, dirty every day, nails, dirt under my nails, breathing fumes, headaches because I was painting cars. I hated it, but I did it with enthusiasm. I did it with passion, even though I knew it was a stepping stone and it's not going to be something I did my whole life. Literally one of my first real estate deals. I fixed the guy's car with that kind of enthusiasm. He's like, what are you doing here fixing cars? I said, just a stepping stone to other stuff. He goes, what's your passion? I said, real estate. I'm working on a couple deals right now, trying to raise the money. He goes, how much you need? I said, 80 grand for the one I'm doing. In 2 days, he gave me $80,000 for that deal. We ended up splitting a lot of money. It was one of the biggest deals I'd ever done. If I would have been like, this job sucks. I'm only here for a little while. And man, I'm getting out of here quick. This is terrible. Do you think the guy would have given me 80 grand? Right?
That's great advice.
Even if you don't like what you're doing, find a way to enjoy it. Trick yourself. Find a hack. Do it with enthusiasm. It'll be a quicker stepping stone.
Brilliant. 2 questions we went done.
Yeah.
I'm actually dyslexic myself. I do audiobooks. So obviously learning is a really important part. You're still growing, you're still learning, you're still developing. What do you read? What do you read? What do you recommend reading?
You know, I read a lot of personal growth. I read old school Earl Nightingale, Dale Carnegie. I read Tony Robbins. I'll read anything on relationships. I'll read anything on overcoming worry. Like what I've discovered is business books are amazing, and I'll go through business books. But when you really get down to the core, even when you have tactics, if this is wrong, you never get to the tactics. You know, a book I just read recently is The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer, and then I went and read his second book, which is The Surrender Experiment. For me, it taught me how to be in control of my thoughts. Our thoughts will drive us crazy. Our thoughts will make us sad. Our thoughts will make us say no when we should say yes. Our thoughts will stop us. It'll be the story that is the wedge between us and the next level. So I'm always trying to gain knowledge on how to control or observe my thoughts and call them fake, real, a lie, or truth, so I can keep the momentum in the right direction.
Cool. Thank you so much. Last question. What would you like your legacy to be many, many years from now?
besides being a great dad, because it's really, we've had a legacy of a dysfunction, and my last name is Graziosi. Like, the Graziosi family has just like left a wake of disaster prior to me. I love my parents, but, and so I'd love the legacy that I stopped that, and I have two well-rounded, amazing children who are going to grow up and be a huge part of society and help contribute to the world. And secondly, I just love to be the guy that said, man, that guy just took success strategies and made them real simple, and they stuck in my life.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Dean.
Oh, thanks.
Cheers.
Good to be here.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching Inspiring People. Thank you. That's great, Dean.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.